What's going on? It's Emmett from Haven for Heroes. I'm here on the banks of the Achigachi River. I'm about 20 minutes from the Canadian border on a little R&R and a little, sourcing. Trying to get some Canadian price variance up here in the north of New York. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about sourcing. And since I'm on vacation, we're going to have a little liability, a little bit of mother's milk. So everybody knows you got a comic shop, you have a brick and mortar. People come in all the time to sell you stuff, especially with the economy starting to head a little south. We've had people coming in every day. But there's a lot of other sources that I use when times are slow, when times are good, and people are loving their collections and nothing's coming through the door. You still got to get them. You still got to find them. So one of my very first things I started doing, because I used to do this back in the day, I used to actually do storage buildings way back in the 80s, late 80s through the 90s. I used to do the flea markets, so I used to buy storage units all the time. And they were great. Back then you could get them for 50 bucks, 25 bucks, filled, no problem. Nobody wanted them. As far as everybody was concerned, it was garbage. Now, since the television show, The Secret's out, they cost a little bit too much money. But what I do is I go to the auctions and I'll meet up with the other buyers and I'll hand them a list of the stuff that I buy, and I tell them, hey, if you have a tough time moving any stuff online, or you want to refresh your inventory, or you're getting too much, give me a call. I'll come out, or you can bring it down. Cash on the barrelhead, man. When you show up, here's your money. And I do, I tell everybody right off the bat, I'm the same with everybody. On your money goods, on the stuff that's got some value, can sell, I pay 40%. That's right, only 40%. And on the bulk, depends on what it is. Bulk toys is a lot less than bulk comics. Bulk comics I pay anywhere between 15 cents and 30 cents a book. 15 cents if it's unboarded and bagged, 30 cents if it's bagged and boarded, and that's if they're in good shape in the bag and the board, right? If they're modern comics that were put in there when they were first read and not beat up books just shoved in bags, So that's one of my number one sources is these guys. Every time they get too much, or they'll wait till they have a bunch of, like, they get a few in this unit and a few in that unit, they put it all together and they'll bring it in, or they'll have me come out to their warehouse. Next thing is I started contacting real estate agents to get the numbers of people that clean out houses. Somebody dies and the family just wants to sell the house. They don't want anything in it, or they take the stuff they want out of it and they need the rest of it cleaned out. There's these guys that go around and clean out these houses. So I called a few of these guys and I said, hey, if you're putting all this stuff in a 75-foot dumpster out in front of the house, give me a call. I'll come by wherever you're packing up. I'll pick out the stuff that I want. I'll go through your dumpster even. You can put it in there and I'll pull it out and I'll give you cash. And man, some serious home runs, especially in the video game market. And I'm pretty sure now in the VHS market, I'm going to start hitting that. I sadly years ago have passed on a lot of VHS that I probably should have bought. But they're another great resource. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a electronics reclaim center, is where they take electronics in and then they recycle them. A lot of those places will actually, because some of it is they don't want to they can't throw away, like the plastic stuff and everything. So if you go in, they'll sell you stuff out of there. And I had one right in Port Jervis for a while, and I used to go to it monthly. And I'm telling you, the video game stuff I was getting from these guys was incredible. 30-gallon totes, $10 to $30. Systems, games, accessories, everything. And I'm a bit of a collector myself, so there's a lot of other stuff in there I could get that I ended up having, not having to sell, but selling down the road, because I get a better one or a different one that I like. One sec. So look around for those, all right? I know the one in my town closed, but they were in Newark, New Jersey. So I had made a trip down to Newark. It wasn't as good as the one in Port. The sales guys there, I think people were onto it down there, and it wasn't much left. There's one out in Scranton, PA that I have to hit. I know there's a bunch of them. So you're looking for electronic recycling places, and they could be a home run if you're doing any kind of video game reselling. Just a lot of great stuff. Systems, a lot of times, you know, the game is in the system. Get the system. I must have 40 or 50 GameCubes, because when the Wii came out, everybody got rid of their GameCubes but didn't get rid of the games. So they had tons of GameCubes, but a lot of times there was still a game left in there, and you know how much some of those GameCube games can go for. So another great place to source is there at the electronic recycling places. Now everybody knows yard sales and flea markets. Great place to go out if you have a weekend off. You can go out there. But the number one thing when you go out to flea markets is a lot of these guys, this is their side hustle. Their side hustle is this, and you want to talk them up. You want to get to know them. You want to let them know what you're looking for. Because look, they're looking for an easy sale. They're looking for an easy turnover. And if you're going to pay them a fair price, they're going to hold it for you. You know, if you come every week and you get to know these guys, and they're always, it's like if you had the time to go out and source way more stuff, if you had the time and the gas money to go everywhere. These guys are all over the place. And you make friends with them and let them know, and you pay them a fair price. They're going to hold stuff for you, and you're going to make a lot of money on it. Like I said, paying 40%, you got a 60% more margin. If that item goes up, your margins just go up. And the way the comic market has been, it's been crazy, right? You know, we're getting a little downturn now, but on the upside, you're all over it, right? So before COVID, you buy a book for $100 or $200. By the end of COVID, it's $1,000. You know, home run, home run. I know 2 years ago I was selling Ultimate Spider-Man's the first appearance of Miles for $90, and now I won't sell mine for $1,000. So I got mine at $1,000 when they're selling for $600 and $800 because it's ungraded, it's raw, and it's still in the bag. I know that's, you know, a lot of people say it's wrong, but that's one of the books that you just can't go wrong owning that book. It's probably the most popular modern character in comic books. Now another place is if you can find out the guy who does the cleanouts for those clothes dumps. You'll see them, they have like support your local fire company or fire victims, or they actually have a guy that goes around and cleans them out, right? And now they only take clothing, but a lot of people dump all kinds of stuff in there. I've gotten video games and magazines, and when I used to do DVDs, and I did do a lot of open VHS, and those guys used to, and like 10 cents a piece on some of this stuff. But this guy was getting paid to clean it out. They didn't want it. He didn't want it. He wanted to make cash on it, and I'm there for them. So there's another place, like, you got to be talking to people. You got to be out there trying to get information on who's sourcing what. Don't let stuff end up in the dump, man. If you could make a buck on it, that guy can make a buck on it. Everybody's doing good. Find out who's dumping this stuff. Let them know you'll pay them for it, and it's going to be a boon for you, a boon for your business. If you just got a little side hustle going on, even these are great guys to be in contact with. They'll keep you stocked up, especially in the slow times when you're not getting stuff, when people aren't moving on their stuff. bad weekends when there's a couple of weekends in a row when it's raining, there's no yard sailing, right? You got to pick these guys up. And let me tell you, from a guy that used to do storage units, you end up with a lot of junk. Stuff that will take you a long time to sell, a lot of work in cleaning up, a lot of stuff you don't want to sell, you don't have any expertise in, furniture and all this other stuff. It's much better to buy it from the guys who that is their business, and they don't want to do the collectible stuff. I do have a couple of guys. The deal is I'll give them a couple of books that'll eBay, right, out of the collection they get. If they bring me comics, I'll give them a couple of big books that they can make full bang on, and they'll sell me the rest. When they meet a certain amount, they're happy, and then I can get the rest of the books at my price. And usually when I've picked out books for them, they give me the rest of them at 15 cents a piece. So there's still, you know, a couple of really good books in there. What you want to do is, like all businesses, is build relationships. Let the guys know what you're looking for. Be really upfront and honest with what you're going to pay. I always show guys the books, the big books. Like when I go through people's collections or even dealers' collections, I go, well, here's the money. This is what I'm going to pay you 40% on, and all the rest is, you know, bulk. Now, sometimes, you know, they'll want to go back through it, and, you know, sometimes they'll be like, oh, what about this book? It's a Spider-Man book. Yeah, but it's like a Spider-Man book, not Amazing Spider-Man, you know, and there's a lot of that 90s stuff, Spider-Man, that aren't worth much or nothing at all and are overprinted. So be fair, be knowledgeable. That's a big part. I use a lot of different apps, and we're going to go through that later on and how I do my pricing and all that. Sorry about the shadow, but I'm in this beautiful sun in upstate New York and enjoying myself, a little libation. And yeah, I really appreciate everybody tuning in. I hope you enjoyed our 3-part episode with Cyberspace Comics. I got another comic shop probably coming up in a couple of weeks. I got to contact him. He contacted me, kind of left him out in the wind, but I'm going to be talking to him. I'm really interested. He looks like a really fun guy, really knowledgeable guy. I've seen him on some other shows. So we're going to be having him on. I don't want to say who it is yet because I want to get him to commit first. But yeah, we're going to do that. I'm really going to contact somebody in the upstate New York area because I really like what she's doing, and want to show you a couple of different comic shops, especially one that I've kind of like talked about, comic shops that are just doing new books, and I'm like, you really can't make a living on new books. Well, I found somebody on the internet who's doing great with just new books, and I'm gonna want to bring that person on. Hopefully they'll agree to come onto the show and talk about their business model and how they're making it, because it really impressed me. I was blown away because I really don't make any money on new books. I warehouse a bunch, right? I sell new books, but a lot of them go on the shelf afterwards. So, and I'll talk about in future episodes. I'm going to talk about what I do with those books and how long I keep those before, you know, you got to wholesale them out at some point, and what I wholesale them for. So again, please leave us comments about what you're interested in hearing about in owning a comic shop. Like I said, I'm not the most successful comic shop in the world, but I'm not going to pull any punches and I'm not going to hold anything back. Bruises, scars, all the rest. We'll talk about it and we'll show it to you. Next time, I promise, a little shot of the basement, and you'll be a little freaked out. So yeah, thanks for coming along on this journey. Peace out.